Hello everyone and welcome to Verdane TV's coverage of the Transervice Cup Series 2021 season. We're at Rockingham tonight. Cars are on the grid running around the speedway, and I'm here tonight with Paul Strickland and Tim Terry. Paul, going to see a good race here as the green flag drops. They head off into turn number one. We're right on time here tonight for the start of this race.
Absolutely great to see the SIM500 guys here back on a Monday night here live on Verdane TV. Just kind of keeping the seat warm for Tim Terry on his way over. Just wrapped up another episode of Tim's Corner Motorsports, and it's or Tim's Corner Live rather. So very cool to have these guys here on a Monday.
Brian Daly is out front here, running down the back straightaway. Tricky track here at Rockingham. A lot of bumps down here in the corners, but Byron navigating really well as he continues to come up off of turn number 4 to the start finish line. Complete lap number 3. Right behind him, Trey Edson in the on-site gas system Camaro giving chase. Everybody kind of single file. Daniel Falkingham right behind him with Tyler Dalton. Everybody clean start here as we work lap number 3, and they are single file as they head around this tricky 1 mile oval here at Rockingham Speedway. Under slight cloud cover, 76, 77 degrees, track temp 105. You see the sun peeking in and out. These drivers, well, they've got a lot of work to do here tonight. This track, a handful, it's very loose up off the corners, and they have to wait till these tires gain a little bit of traction and get a little warmth in them. Right now, everybody running pretty consistent lines. You see them doing about 140 miles an hour as they enter into the corner. They drop down to about 135 and then streak up as fast as they can right to that outside wall. And these drivers, they know how to get around this speedway. Not a track that's on the NASCAR circuit, but a lot of drivers have affinity for this. And I always called this the Kyle Petty Speedway because Kyle just knew how to get around here. 164 laps is the distance. And right now, everybody just kind of settled in, running single file, nose to tail. Good run for Josh Parker right now, running in that 10th position, just kind of cruising around in that Bud Light Toyota. He started 9th, dropped back a little bit, but just pacing himself. And you'll see these drivers, well, they know that tire wear is a premium here at Rockingham Motor Speedway. The rock, such an abrasive surface, and these drivers, they have to pace themselves. This is one of those places where they say in the sim racing world, race the track, not the competition. As we look for a bid up there for the 5th position, it's Adam Gilliland in the Personal Comfort Camaro ducking underneath to take over 4th. He's going to try and put charge on Trey Edson. Moved around Tyler Dalton. Dalton having a good run here in the early going, but out front it continues to be Byron Daly leading the way as we complete lap number 8, working lap number 9.
And it's always cool, Kevin, to watch some of the races that happen here at the Rock. Like you made mention, not on the Cup schedule any longer, so it's not necessarily a track that a lot of these guys go to in the simulations here in iRacing. You can check it out over at iRacing.com. But it was cool to see that the track got scanned, added into the game, and or into the simulation rather. And it has been around for a very long time, but just because it's not on the Cup schedule, it's one of those racetracks that's kind of set in the back of everybody's mind.
I always loved this racetrack, Paul. It was just one of those tracks that you're always paying attention. Some tracks, when you're out running by yourself, you're just kind of cruising, you get yourself down into the corner, you get off to the corner. This racetrack, even on the straightaways, you have to pay attention.
For sure, and you made mention earlier, it's one of those racetracks you need to race the track, and that's where the practice laps come in. A lot of these guys spend, you've got the happy hour session, the final practice before each race on Monday nights here for the Transervice Cup Series. Easy enough for me to say. But it's practice laps all week long, all weekend long for these drivers, and you really have to know how your car is going to kind of handle on the track, around the track, in the corners and everything like that. And then you have to kind of factor in the other cars on the track. We've got 37 cars on track here at this point, and that's 37 different driving styles that you got to react to. So it's a lot for these drivers to go through, and it's a lot to kind of prepare for. And we're kind of seeing that now. We're seeing a few top 5 or so kind of pulling away just a little bit, but all the way around the track, it appears that we're pretty much single file.
Yeah, watch the Xfinity race from SIM500 run this track earlier this week. Edson was the winner, Howard, Comstock, Rockingham, and Coleman in the 38, your top 5. And, a lot of these drivers ran laps at this racetrack. We also ran it on Thursday at the Boomer session. I don't know, do you know about that series, Paul?
I do. I was really excited to see a non-televised series on a Thursday night. Thursdays are pretty light here of an A&TV, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is exciting. I'm 3 years too young to jump in the Boomer series, so we'll see what happens in 3 years, I guess.
I tried my hand at the Boomer Series. I made it a lap and a half. We went down into turn 1. The 3 cars in front of me overdrove the corner, all went into the fence. One of them came down, turned me into traffic, and I just got blasted. Lap and a half. I was so bummed out because I was looking forward to racing this track.
Absolutely, and that pretty much sounds like my sim racing career as a whole.
Yeah.
That's why we push the buttons in the production trailer.
Some days the bear eats you, and actually I think I'm slathered with peanut butter or something. But out front it continues to be Byron leading the way. And I'll tell you, these drivers doing a good job. This is a difficult track to race. The car bounces porpoises through those bumps all the way down. Fast way around is the low line, but a lot of drivers pick that middle line just to come up a little bit off those bumps. But you can run the high line, you can run the low line here. As you see, the Bobby Wetzel number 9 loose off the turn number 2. Car was sideways, gathered it up before he tank slapped the wall, and he's able to keep it going. He's currently scored in the 36th position.
Yeah, we're just kind of going through the top 20 right now. You can see a side-by-side battle. Oh, a little bit of contact between the 43 and the 13, Mike Montesi and David Comstock. They kind of slapped doors just a little bit, but they gathered it back up. No harm, no foul. Good news there. Give that 19th position up to the 45 car of Mike Montesi. But a lot of these guys, like you said, everybody's running right on that yellow line. There's a couple of drivers that are electing to kind of run about a half a car width up or so. Just to avoid those bumps. So you can see Comstock going around Montesi there on the bottom side, trying to get around Kevin Brown, trying to join the fun and join the party there. Battle for 19th on screen, but a lot of the same similar driving styles throughout the early parts of this race here, but still Byron Daly up front. He's got about a half-second lead.
Yeah, Daly looks comfortable, and Comstock is that car on the move, currently running in the 19th position. He led a good majority of that Xfinity race, but this is one of those tracks where track strategy, meaning where you pit to change tires and where you come out, track position and all of that makes a huge difference. And while Comstock led a lot of that, also Daniel Falkingham had a great run in that event. Both of them got mired back in traffic and weren't able to make their way back up. Edson played the right strategy, and you know that has to play in the mind of these guys as they run this race here tonight.
And speaking of mired back in traffic, looks like Tim made himself over here, so I'm gonna get myself off the throne, hand the headset over to Tim Terry to continue on with the broadcast here with you, Kevin.
Yeah,
Welcome,
I'm here.
Tim.
I'm here. The cautions can start now. It's great to see you guys get some green flag laps in, and Paul knows as well as I do, I'm not the greatest the last couple of weeks in time. I know there was an eastbound race about a week ago that I showed up just on time when I thought we were starting a little bit later, and it's the same situation here tonight. I thought I had an extra 10 minutes or so, but down the back straightaway, Byron Daly's looking pretty good right now, but the same familiar contenders up in front, even though it is Rockingham, and these drivers doing a great job with this bumpy, unique surface on this Rockingham racetrack.
Yeah, Josh Williams currently in the 4th position, was running 5th, came up to 4th, started on the pole here tonight, settled back. It might be just trying to conserve those tires. A lot of these drivers will ease off the car in front of them so that they can drive the entry into the corner to their liking and not wear that right front or right rear out. But up front, boy, Byron is setting the blistering pace.
And you can do that right now early in the race. It's your opportunity to try to figure out what your car has, what the tires have, and with this race being so aggressive on tire wear and throwing the car around, they're doing a great job. Byron Daly up in front. There's Josh Williams on your screen. He's running up here in the front half of the field, running up here in 4th. So, but these guys up in front, Kevin, they seem to have it figured out. They're single file. They're logging some laps. Long race, 164 laps. It's not a terribly long race, Kevin, but it's long enough to kind of get yourself in trouble if you get caught behind the 8 ball. But most of these guys at the front have it figured out. I think the first real pack that we're seeing right now is around Tyler Dalton, Justin Fuller, Josh Parker, Kyle Taraska, Joey Bailey's back there as well. No side-by-side battles here in this pack, Kevin, but there's some good racing to have.
Yeah, Fuller looks a little anxious right now. He's right on that tail of the 19 of Tyler Dalton. He's going to slide underneath. That's a signal. When you're running and you look up in the mirror and you can't see the hood of the car behind you, the front nose, you know that they want by, and at that point, Dalton rolls up, out of the throttle, comes up, and Fuller is going to take that 7th position.
Yeah, the 19 going to fall back one more. Kyle Taraska to the inside, and the 1 of Joey Bailey going to move to the inside as well. So quickly dispatching that car back a few more positions. Tyler Dalton qualified well, like he usually does in this series, Kevin, but early in this race, he might not have the short run that he wants to, but I think we're seeing a green flag look to this one, so I think Tyler Dalton might be playing it off a little bit smart right now as the 18 of Kyle Taraska looks over the number 23 of Josh Parker, and then right in front, as you mentioned, Justin Fuller. They have a little bit of a history, and I think they rekindled a little bit of that a couple of weeks ago, the last time that we raced. So just keep an eye on Fuller and Parker because they always seem to find each other on the racetrack.
Yep, that's how it works, isn't it? When you look at it now, out front of the point standings, Pedro Mojica still holds the lead, but he's being caught by Daniel Falkingham each and every week. Falkingham running 2nd right now. He's got 5 top 5s and 6 starts. He's having a really strong season in the 39.
We saw Josh Parker fall back a couple of more positions. There's Pedro catching up to this 19 car of Tyler Dalton, but Josh Parker loses a couple of positions back, and kind of noticing who he's got in here for spotters here tonight. Adam Folin is one of those guys that is on top of the box every week for Parker, but one of his buddies looks like he's helping out Mr. Parker tonight, and that's Ryan Priest. So he's going to give him a little bit of expertise here, but right now Parker is sitting a couple of positions in behind probably where he wants to be. But again, long race. He's just sitting in position number 10, biding his time. There's a lot of stiff competition ahead of him, though, but plenty of laps to get it all done. We're going to complete 31 here.
Keep an eye on Doy Woods in the 07. Had a strong run last couple of weeks, and expect him to make a little bit of noise here tonight. I think he's pretty good at this racetrack.
He loves these short tracks. We saw it a couple of weeks ago, albeit we had a couple of cautions at the Bristol Motor Speedway, but it doesn't matter how many cautions you have in the race. You put yourself in that position to, whether it is a top 5 or top 10 or battling for a win, and Doy was able to do that in his return to this Transervice Cup Series. A couple of spots up the road. A great qualifying effort for E.J. O'Rourke once again. This is his kind of racetrack. likes the super speedways, but also likes these shorter racetracks. And EJ actually is under fire from Stefan Marinick in the 24. So just up the road from Doy Woods, battled for about position number 13 or so as these guys have found a place to race.
Yes, I'll see Kyle Tarasca running ninth, trying to take a peek underneath Joey Bailey in the number 1. Didn't get the move done. Sometimes when you run side by side, it slows you up too much, and you're just going to yield that position, fall back in, and look for another opportunity. It's one of those racetracks, Tim, where it's give and take. You see the opportunity, you try to take it. If you can get it, you get it. If you can't, you give it back. You don't want to be messing around on this racetrack.
Absolutely not, especially in the middle of this run where we're 35 laps into this race. We're 35 laps into this run. The tires have probably gone away on these Cup cars. The fuel load's a little bit lighter, so this is kind of where these cars start to dance around a little bit. Or if you're the case of, we just saw Justin Fuller on the screen closing in on Jose Gonzalez. You see Josh Williams closing in right there on Trey Edson. There's some accordion sort of coming together right now, 35, 36 laps into this run, where some drivers that may have started off hot are starting to reel back in. And in the case of Josh Williams, you catch the 5 car, make the move, and now you move up to position number 3 and try to catch up to Daniel Falkingham, who's about a second or so ahead of you. So there's some of that happening, and especially at this point in the run, you're going to start to see some drivers fall back. You're going to start to see some drivers push forward because they have a little bit more saved than the other driver does, whether it's tires or fuel or what have you. And this is where the run starts to get fairly interesting.
Sitting right behind Edson is the 81 of Adam Gilliland. His season just not going the way he wants recently, but running in the top 5 right now, expecting him to have a good run if he could stay out of trouble. He's just had a terrible season for that.
Yeah, and sometimes I wouldn't think Rockingham would be a place for Adam to turn it around, but he's won a pro race at Richmond. You necessarily probably wouldn't call him a short track specialist, but he's been able to pull off some decent runs on those. And Rockingham, not necessarily a short track per se, it kind of races like one, but the mile and under category for Adam Gilliland is not a slouch, let's put it that way. And that personal comfort, number 81, comfortably right now in the top 5, doing what he has to do to stay there. And right behind him, change for position, Justin Fuller has moved up to position number 6. He just made the move on Jose Gonzalez. So the next one up on Fuller's list is Adam Gilliland.
Yeah, let's take a lap with Justin Fuller. We'll go inside the car and see how that looks for him. This racetrack has so much character. As you watch him come off of turn number 4, he's sawing on the wheel. You want to be right up tight to the outside wall on the entry to turn 1, drop it down in, hit the curb, hit the apron just a little bit, lets the car slide up, comes up right up against the outside wall, again, not brushing the wall, and it's easy to do there. As he comes down here in turn number 3, he tries to miss this bump right here to the best of his ability. Sometimes that unsettles the car and takes the wheels out of the racetrack. You want to go up a little bit. Everybody knows that bump is there. And as he comes up off the corner, he always just peeks up in the mirror to see who's behind him. But ideally, as soon as he comes off, he's looking for that entry into the corner.
And the yellow flag is out on the speedway for the first time this evening. I was about to say these drivers are doing a great job. We have the 37 that are on the racetrack, and they're all on the lead lap. But it looks like it's the 8 of Randy Yoakum getting involved in this one. We'll head down to Paul Strickland Jr. with a Kong Beer Bong instant replay. And Paul, the leaders were coming up on this little battle.
Yeah, for sure. Great run for these guys so far here. 43 laps in, a 43-lap green flag run, so always great to see everybody running good. Just kind of backing up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. I believe it was the 8 car that got, well, it might have been a little bit of assistance, but we'll take a look at it live as we do here, as we say here on Verdane TV. You can see the 8 car of Randy Yoakum side by side with the 45 of Mike Montesi, and looks like the 8 actually got the apron just a little bit, comes up across the nose of the 45, the kick-ass beef jerky machine of Montesi, and Both drivers do keep it pointed straight. A lot of nose damage on that 45 car. It appears there's a lot of damage on the 8 car as well. So tough break for these guys. Don't believe they lost a lap, but they're going to lose a little bit of time. And right now, boys, it looks like pit road is a hot commodity.
Yeah, pretty sure that's going to be the case every single time the yellow flag falls. These drivers will drop in for 4 tires in the early going. It is possible here, Tim, to steal away a win if you get 2 tires at the end. But right now, I can imagine these drivers all happy to get a fresh set of Goodyears.
And they all come off of pit road. They look fairly status quo coming off of pit road. The pace car is actually the only car that's out in the racetrack right now, and Byron Daly going to lead the field back on to the racetrack. Daniel Falkingham, Josh Williams, Trey Edson, and Jose Gonzalez, your top 5. So except the 5th place position, which was held by Adam Gilliland, and Adam Gilliland is actually going to lose a lot of positions on pit road by the looks of it, because I don't see him up here. Did he get a penalty? He's slow on the racetrack here on the apron, so he must have got a penalty. That head insult to injury. It's been one of those seasons for Adam Gilliland.
Yeah, just cannot shake that monkey off of his back, as it does look like he's gotten maybe too fast on pit road, something.
Going back to take a look, Kevin, the pit road speed is 40, and he's following the line in front of him. He hit 41, but it's just for a split second. So unless that's what it is, and it's got to be, unless he sped coming off of pit road, which he was, it'll be a pit road exit penalty, I would think, because he was 46 at the line.
Yeah, 45 they'll give you for just a blip, but if you're 46, you're pushing it, and that's going to tag you, and he's going to pay the price for that one. This is a tough racetrack to get that track position, Tim. He's going to have to look to see if he can find some alternative pit strategy.
Yeah, but we've seen Adam Gilliland come from the back of the field. He is going to be up for it. Green flag flies. We are back underway. Over 100 laps left to go, and Daniel Falkingham cut down right in front of Josh Williams for second place, and he was clear. He wasn't clear by much, Kevin, but he was clear.
I said that same thing. Whoa! I had that same reaction as they head off into turn number 3. One slow car out in front of them, charging off. We're going to see the Barham number 83 up there in front of the leaders. Hopefully he can hold pace and not get swallowed up by these guys. But as fast as Byron Daly's going to be, he's going to have a car right in front of him in a moment.
It's early in the season, but Jose Gonzalez just made the save of the year coming off at turn 4, and we kind of caught it out of the corner of our eye here on Vidane TV, but went through the grass, saved it, didn't hit anything, but he lost a lot of track position, so he's going to have to do the same thing pretty much Adam Gilliland is going to have to do and come from the back of the field to make it happen. Tough break for a guy that was running up in the top 5 for most of that first run. There's Byron Daly on your screen, Daniel Falkingham kind of creeping into your picture in the Lobster 207, number 39, and Josh Williams having a great run. We kind of saw Josh get a little bit better as the run went on. He passed Trey Edson about halfway through that run, so I think if we get another long-ish run, we get another 30 laps or so, I think Josh now knows what he has in his race car, and he might be better suited for this run.
Not a good pit stop for the 19 of Tyler Dalton. It's going to drop him back into standings quite a bit. After starting 6th, he's currently running 15th. The largest charger right now is David Comstock. Started 22nd. He's running 13th. Top 6 have kind of broken away. They're running nose to tail with Kyle Taraska back about 8 car lengths. It's going to look like a challenge. You're right. The 95 looks like he's got some speed in that car tonight.
Yeah, Josh Williams is on that back bumper of Daniel Falkingham. Not making a move, but just enough to kind of keep him honest right now, sitting in position number 3. And Byron Daly really hasn't stretched out the advantage that he did on the first run. Falkingham keeping him honest by a couple of car lengths, just enough for Byron to get out front and maybe feel a little bit comfortable, but just enough to see that 39 in the rearview mirror. And Trey Edson stormed into corner number 1 there. It looked like he was going to make a move on the 95, but rolls back out of the throttle. And Joey Bailey, we saw him a couple of times here in this run, and he's currently sitting in position number 5. So a great run. He's had flashes of brilliance, the rookie contender this season, but hasn't had the finishes in some of those to really see where that speed has been, Kevin, but ran well at Daytona, was on the podium, and has had a couple of good runs since.
Yeah, hanging right up with that top group, just keeping pace with them. All those drivers seem content right now. It's really difficult. You very much have to get a spectacular run, and even as the lap times are right now, you're going to have to wait for some tire wear to see who's going to emerge out of this pack as a contender.
And for the most part, up in front, it's been status quo. Those top 5, top 6 or so have been the same. You look back to that second pack, Justin Fuller. I think Justin's starting off a little bit slower on this run, and we kind of saw that on run number 1 as well. He's let Parker and Tarasca get by, and he hasn't really mounted a charge for them. Pedro Mojica's closing in, and EJ O'Rourke as well on the back bumper of Pedro Mojica. So there's that little bit of a battle back there as well, and I'm sure EJ wants to get up there and get a little bit of the team bragging rights, I guess, between himself and Fuller with the personal comfort colors on there. EJ always gets up on a Monday and wants to finish ahead of that number 51 car. So I'm sure that's in the back of his mind as we roll through here on lap number 56.
Yeah, speaking of EJ, I was just looking at some of the stats for SIM500. 704 starts for EJ O'Rourke in the SIM500 universe, and that's a really big number. You go back to one other veteran, call him the Iron Man, Chad Coleman in the number 38. He's currently slugging it out back there in the 22nd position. 723 starts in the SIM500 universe. That's a lot of races under your belt for that veteran.
And he's back there with Adam Gilliland right now. Gilliland had that pit penalty. He's able to make up one more spot. That is for 22nd and 23rd position right now. Elliot Henderson, Jimmy Coleman, Brian Macklin. There's another driver that's had a horrendous season ever since Daytona. Got that win there and just hasn't been able to get luck to save his life right now. And he's back there with Tommy Ryan on your screen battling for what would be about 18th place. And I think Macklin, I think Gilliland, I think they would both be happy to see the checkered flag in one of these races. And I don't want to jinx it, Kevin, but right now they're not the finish that they want, but at least they're getting laps in.
Yeah, Joey Woods went underneath to claim the 14th position. Then Mike Kelly snuck underneath that hold, and Tyler Dalton did the same thing, and that relegated David Comstock back to 17th before he was able to tuck back in. He had Tommy Ryan in the 99 peeking underneath him, but was able to go in and cover that position. So it's a tough go when you're on the outside lane with cars fighting underneath you.
I was about to mention before we had the first caution flag, the 37 drivers were on the racetrack and all 37 were on the lead lap and doing a great job. The only driver right now in danger of going a lap down is Jason Barham, but he was involved in that first yellow flag, and he's got a fair amount of right side damage to this kick-ass beef jerky number 83, and he's in danger of going a lap down, but everybody else within 12 seconds of the leader. They're doing a great job, considering this Rockingham Speedway can be a little bit difficult to navigate, especially with these high-powered, heavy stock cars, these cup cars. But Byron Daly, obviously up in front, doing a great job. Josh Williams, Daniel Falkingham, changed for second in these last few laps to move Williams to P2. Falkingham, Edson, and Joey Bailey continue to run in your top 5 as you see that train for second on back go down the back straightaway.
This is one of those racetracks where, you could think Dover is a mile track, but this one's completely different. You're running a lot faster. The turns are really sweeping. You're carrying a lot of speed. And with the bumps and the traction, you're literally driving the heck out of the race car. You're just trying to do whatever you can to keep it pointed in the right direction, get as much traction as possible. And it really makes a difference. Some drivers hook up, and, I'll take Kevin Brown, currently running in the 25th position. We know how fast he is on some of the other racetracks, but here tonight, maybe this track doesn't suit his style, and he's just kind of hanging in the back, not able to come forward. That's no knock against Kevin Brown. Guy's stellar race car driver, but this racetrack sometimes will make you eat a little crow.
And maybe he's saving a little bit, maybe trying to figure out what his race car has and trying to see if it's better maybe on the longer run and maybe let the race come to him and let the drivers come back to him per se. But 100 laps remaining in this event. The laps continue to click off fairly quickly. And this is a racetrack, Kevin, we're used to seeing it periodically on the official side of things on iRacing, the A-Fix, B-Fix, C-Fix, the Open Series. see it in NIS from time to time. We've seen it here on Bedane TV a couple of times with the Mike on the Rock 75s when we run the ARCA cars here. It's on the ARCA schedule on the officials. So it's a racetrack that is run on a fairly regular basis. Some of these drivers tend to like it more than not, and that goes back to your point, Kevin, where you might be a short track guy or you might be an intermediate guy. You might like super speedways, and you might excel at one type of racetrack over another. And some of them, as you mentioned, Kevin Brown, might be kind of hoping and thinking, get these extra 90-something laps in, and then we can load this car up and go somewhere else. But doing a great job, these SIM500 drivers are. As you see the 13 at Comstock on your screen, trying to close in on that 19 of Tyler Dalton. Had that move kind of made, and the hole kind of closed up on him a couple laps ago. So now he's going to have to try and get that position back one more time.
I really feel like he's going to be a force. And this track drives a little bit, if I could say, like Richmond. It's one of those tracks where you drive it down in the corner as hard as you can, right to the edge of grip. You're sliding the car through and you're sliding the car off, but you're trying to save your tires the whole time. And I just love the feel of the way the car goes down into the corner. And these drivers talk about how hard they run the car for that long run. And you'll see it if we do get a long green flag run. All of a sudden, someone will look like they have 100 more horsepower.
It's a matter of saving your equipment and trying to I don't want to say outdrive, but outsmart the other drivers ahead of you, and try to beat them that way and try to get a little bit better equipment. And watching this battle for second here that's on your screen now between Daniel Falkingham and second place Josh Williams. And Daniel's been kind of, I think, fighting that thing a little more over the bumps, Kevin, than what we saw in the first run. But he's keeping pace with Josh Williams. He's not letting Josh get away. But as they battle, Byron Daly isn't getting away like he did on the first run. I think at this point in the first run, he was about a second ahead of the field. About a half second or so ahead, just enough to give him a little bit of breathing room, but not enough that if he goes over the bumps the wrong way, the field is going to be there as Falkingham goes to the inside at a 2. Got barely a fender there, and it's not going to be a pass for position. But, I think Byron right now, I think these guys in second and third have kind of learned a little bit, and I think Byron might be saving a little bit knowing that this race might have a green flag run to it.
Yeah, what I see with Falkingham is he's running a half line to a line lower than everybody else. He's not afraid to run through those bumps. You especially see the car right here come through those bumps out of turn number 2. He's able to get the car to stick, and he's able to make that move. That allowed the 33 to get away a little bit. Well, Falkingham now has clear racetrack, and I'm sure he's going to put the charge on.
I'm interested to see what kind of charge it is, though. With that change in position, they lost a half second between themselves and Byron Daly. As you look out the windshield of Daniel Falkingham's car, you go down Thunder Alley and look towards corner number 3. Byron got a little bit of an advantage, and he didn't do anything different. He's driving the race car the same. The lap times look pretty similar, and Falkingham is pulling away a little bit over the 95 of Josh Williams, but not really enough to necessarily catch Byron Daly. Their lap times have been similar since he's made the move on the 95.
His line looks just a little bit different than everybody else. He's low down to the yellow line, lets it drift up a little bit, then comes back down to the yellow line, and it could simply be shorter way around the racetrack.
As you continue to see the 39 car right there, keep an eye on those lines and what they are doing in this portion of the run. Looks like Eric Arnold has called it a night. Kevin, the 31, has retired from the race, the only retiree for the evening. Jason Barham is still hanging on with what he has 35 cars, though, remain on the lead lap, and there's a lot of battling. I see Tyler Dalton on the apron in the 19 car, and he is sliding around on the apron, and I think he's coming to pit road, but I don't think... Well, maybe he's not coming to pit road. He somehow got down there. We stay green, but Tyler Dalton loses a bunch of time.
Yeah, that's going to hurt him quite a bit. As I was watching the 19, last week's winner, or the previous week, we were off last week, Donny Lia. The number 29, currently running in that 13th position. He looks fast right now. It's chasing the number 24, and it looks like almost a 24 of Marinek's holding him up. He's getting to that back bumper, and if the opportunity opens, he might be able to take that run. You have to wonder, while we had a week off, which kind of sucks when you're the winner, you like to take the momentum into the next week. You have to think the confidence of that 29 team is high here coming into Rockingham.
a win is big to lock yourself into the playoffs and do all that. And I know Donny didn't have the best start to the season that he wanted to in the Transervice number 29, but I don't know how much momentum you get from a race like that. Yes, it is a win, but there was a lot of cautions. It was a long, drawn-out kind of grind to get to the end of that and get that victory. But Donny was the best car. Donny ended up coming away with the win, and right now he is running in that's pack of 4 that we see there, and there's a change for position. Joey Bailey up the racetrack, Josh Parker up the racetrack as well, and Justin Fuller is there looking to capitalize.
He's not able to get that pass done there, although this time I think he'll be able to clear him. That's going to open the door for Fuller to run through. Fuller's it's going to take them both. The 23 slides high. Fuller goes down underneath. Comstock looking underneath Fuller now as they're side by side in turn number 1. He's got to hold that car, slides up a little bit. Fuller drives underneath. I tell you what, Parker and Fuller are door to door going into turn 3.
And they continue to battle for the position. Keep an eye on those two. Have a little bit of a history there. Trey Edson in behind them, and Joey Bailey a couple of positions now in behind. Great little battle, but we're at that kind of pivot point in the run where we're going to see some drivers kind of fade a little bit. We're going to see some drivers push towards the front. Up in front, status quo, still a second between your top two, and this is one of the great battles on the racetrack for 5th on back.
Take a moment to tell you this race is brought to you by Transervice Transportation and Logistics Solution, a history of service, a tradition of excellence. Visit them on the web at www.transervice.com. Pedro Mojica currently spotted in that 9th position, your point leader coming in. He is trucked on the bumper of Bailey. I think Bailey's slipping back a little bit as he starts to see a lot of pressure of these cars out that rear view window.
Yeah, might start to feel a little bit of pressure back there, but Pedro's still doing a great job. He's already picked up a victory this season and continues to plug along and get the finishes that he has. It's not like an Adam Gilliland or a Brian Macklin end of the season for Pedro Mojica where he had a win and then he's had some tough luck to follow it. Pedro's had some good runs in this series to kind of keep up the momentum and keep the drive going, and right now sitting inside the top 10, sitting in position number 9 as we continue on, and right behind him in the running order, great run for Robert Gillenwater, a little bit of space in between and a lap car in between him and Pedro Mojica in position number 9 as Trey Edson comes to pit road, but Gillenwater having a great run, solid top 10 effort so far.
Yeah, Gillenwater seems like one of those guys you'd love to have meet at a bar and just sit and have a drink and talk about fun times. He's just such an affable person, and he's put a lot of time in lately just getting laps in, and it's been showing up on the racetrack. Good, solid runs for that number 4 car.
And he's got the 24 of Stefan Marinak in behind, and then Donny Lia right in behind him as well. But the cork has opened on green flag pit stops. Trey Edson was one of them that was down on pit road and still down on pit road, getting service to that race car, and maybe a slower pit stop than what we're used to seeing. Trey is now down and away in the 5 car. I believe the 8 is coming down pit road this time of Randy Yoakum, Kevin Brown. So all the hands are coming out the window, and Kevin, it kind of makes sense. I would think they can go 80-something laps on fuel. This is about the halfway point in this race, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, drivers have looked at this race. They certainly are not concerned for fuel mileage. It's all about tires, and if you can go about halfway and duck in, you'll be done with fuel. You're going to see different pit strategies. This is what's going to make it interesting from the tire wear. And these drivers that get 4 tires, they're going to be lightning fast.
Yeah, you see Stefan Marinak on your screen trying to hold off Adam Gilliland coming back through the field, and is about to make his run into the top 10, albeit there has been a couple of drivers that have come down onto pit road. But right now, Robert Gillenwater is your 10th place car. Donny Lia would be 11th. Or check that Donny is actually 10th right now. So if Adam can get that one more race car, that would put him up to position number 10, and he'll go to the inside of Donny Lia, and he'll enter the top 10, even though there are some cars coming in. This is where it gets a little bit nerve-wracking if you're one of these drivers out here on the racetrack. You've got Kevin Brown, keep an eye on this 93 car. Fresh tires, he's going to go by everybody like they're standing still. You still have to make your pit stop, and oh, by the way, you have to crank that thing down on the pit road to make it safe down there. You're right on board with Kevin Brown, and gonna make this look easy here coming off the 2.
Yeah, again, this is where it looks like you have so much horsepower. As we see these drivers, they drop down to the apron. You cannot run the bottom and drop off to the pit road entry here under green. You'll get run over. As I look at the lap times for some of these drivers up front, Byron Daly still leading out front. Fastest car seems to be Joshua Williams in 3rd, and Rockingham dropping back a little bit. I'll tell you what, Byron Daly is hooked up.
Yeah, Byron's doing a great job up in front. He's managing this race wisely right now and pulling away from Daniel Falkingham. The late run, Byron Daly is really shining. We saw that kind of on that first little sample size that we had of a run, but he's really pulling away on the longer run, and Falkingham actually pulling away a little bit from Josh Williams. Williams kind of had that moment there down the back straightaway, sitting in position number 3, and I would think he'd have to be screaming for tires at this point with the way that car's been handling the last couple laps.
Yeah, ultimately these drivers are going to look around at who's in the top 10. They know the scoreboard and they can see it. When I see that, you're watching the competitors that are racing with you that are fast. But then you have somebody like Kevin Brown. He's just praying right now there's no caution if he's a lap down. Pitted on lap 87, he's going to be lightning fast, and he wants to use those tires to his advantage.
So you see the 95 continuing to run in position number 3 on your screen. Kyle Taraska, Josh Parker, currently your top 5. And oh, by the way, Parker has a friend in Justin Fuller on his back bumper. So just keep a half eye on that one. Not to poke the fire or poke the bear, but there might be something there if they continue to run nose to tail and run within close proximity as they come by and complete lap number 94.
See Kevin Brown, he rolls around as soon as I do that, the 4th place car. He goes past the 95. He's not going to have to be worried about being a lap down in a moment as fast as he is. He's got to be 2-3 seconds faster than each of these guys every time he screams by the number 39 of Falkingham.
Yeah, Falkingham doing a great job in position number 2, but it pales in comparison right now to Byron Daly and the run that Byron had. Last time by for Byron was a 24.79 to a 24.92. So you look at that, it's not necessarily bad, but it's 2/10. And if you continue to do that over a run, you're gonna lose a little bit more time, and especially if you come down on pit road, you almost have to kind of maybe undercut the 33 if you're back there. But how much do you undercut with these tires, and especially with the way this race looks green, and if somebody does make a mistake, it's going to force your hand as Kevin Brown goes by the 33 of Byron Daly to put him what would be back 1 lap down. He is now the last car that is 1 lap down. I believe there's 4 of them on the racetrack right now that are 1 lap behind the leader.
What's your psyche if you're the 33 and you watch that 93 drive by you like that, Tim?
He's still got 1 more lap to make up on me. I've got the pace on the long run and on those tires. If I'm Byron Daly, sure, I'm concerned there's cars pitting, but I'm not overly concerned that it's the cars that did come down pit road. The only one that I would kind of keep a radar on would be Trey Edson right now. It's 28. He's 1 lap down. He's not the first car that is 1 lap down. He is trying to work on being there. He just passed Justin Fuller. He's going to pass Josh Parker here in the 23. But I think strategy-wise, if I'm Byron Daly, I'm not concerned with what everybody else is doing, but I'm going to keep a half eye on the 5. And if I'm the 5, I'm catching that car ahead of me and a couple of cars ahead of me. That would be the leader to unlap myself.
Track has that conveyor belt look to it right now. There's cars spread out in little clusters all the way around. Some of the faster cars are moving underneath other cars. I see the 81 of Adam Gilliland challenging the number 3 of Jeff Ryan. Ryan is laps down right now. He's got the 4 of Gillenwater in 8th place behind him as the 3 had ducked off to get tires. And yeah, this is another dynamic is those faster cars sometimes, Tim, play havoc with the guys who are racing for position.
You just have to keep your head about you and keep your wits about you right now and know that there are cars that are a little bit quicker coming up on you. And if you're one of those cars that are slower, you know those quick cars are coming. If you're one of those quicker race cars, you kind of have to pick your positions and don't put those cars that are on the lead lap in a bad position as Doug Roth nearly put Thomas O'Leary in the 39 of Falkingham in a bad position. Falkingham is the second place car, and Doug Roth nearly pulled a strike a couple of moments ago getting by them, but he'll get by. The 45 will get by to the inside, but again, that is a prime example of what could or could not happen with those slower cars and the faster cars.
I think Falkingham got a taste of that, just eased up a little bit over there in 3 or 4, let those cars go by and drive off. So far, we've seen Barham, Brown, O'Leary, Roth, Montesi, Ryan, Yoakum, and Glenn Campbell head to pit road and get fresh tires. As you see the one car, the 15 or the 45, no front end on that car, so that car's going to be like a parachute. Still fast enough to go around your second place car, though.
Absolutely, and you'd have to think as these drivers get a little bit closer to the end, we got 60 laps to go now, this time by for Byron Daly. You'd have to think that these drivers are getting a little bit closer. The fresher tires are going to feel a little bit better, and if you're Trey Edson, who you just went by your leader a couple of laps ago, you are back on the lead lap. But if Byron Daly decides to come down, or whenever he does decide to come down, how much leeway do you have if you're Trey Edson? Because right now, the net leader of the drivers that have come down pit road is that number 5 car on your screen as he makes a pass on Doy Woods, and that is for position. That is for 24th. He'll come up on Richard Beasley in the Tide Ride and put the 10 car behind him, and he's still way faster than these drivers that are out here on the old tires.
33 on pit road. Your leader is ducked in. He's heading down. He started up front, so he's got to go down here into turn number 1, start around the curve, and then pull in and see if he can find his pit sign. Not an easy thing to do. Navigates in his box, and then they're going to put right side tires on the Valvoline Camaro.
So now it's where do you pit if you're Daniel Falkingham, if you're Josh Williams. Daniel Falkingham can't pit this time. He's got Bobby Wetzel down to the inside. Josh Williams still on the racetrack. Justin Fuller still on the racetrack as well. So now keep an eye on them. You'd have to think, because Byron came down, have to force the hand of those guys that are still out on the racetrack as Gilliland, I think that was Chad Coleman, come off of pit road. So hands kind of forced now. Most of the field's coming down.
Cleans pit stop for the number 33 as Falkingham continues to lead. He's got to go to pit road here, Tim. He's going to lose so much time on the racetrack. And with only 165 laps, he needs to get fresh tires to stay even with the 33.
There goes Gilliland off pit road with Gillenwater. Looks like that, or at least we see right now, no penalties on the 81. We'll see what happens there. It might have been a cleaner exit off, and he might have been a little more conservative, Kevin, knowing that last time he did have a penalty. Expect the 39 of Daniel Falkingham, I believe, to come down pit road this time by as Bobby Wetzel works the outside of the 39. And here comes Falkingham down on to pit road. A little close call there with the 38 of Chad Coleman. So that'll bring Falkingham down. Josh Williams will assume the lead.
He had a pretty decent run off of the racetrack down to the apron, was able to carry a lot of speed, so good pit entry as he rolls past the 10 of Beasley, sitting there on pit road. Falkingham all the way down here in turn number 2, because he started up front, going to find his box, and he nails it perfectly. Right side tires go on, and they'll fill it full of fuel as the 95 continues to lead.
95 goes high to let those drivers go by on the inside with fresher tires. Randy Yoakum and Bobby Wetzel being among them, and we expect Williams to come down. I believe there are a handful, maybe a dozen drivers or so, and less than that as Josh Williams comes down onto pit road. Jimmy Coleman will be the leader on this cycle, but no, he won't. He's coming down onto pit road himself. Jose Gonzalez stays out on the racetrack. The 26 car will assume the lead right here.
Good service for Daniel Falkingham. He went down and away, no problems on pit road. He's back on the charge. We'll see where he ends up underneath the 33 who got out. Now, oh my gosh, look at the racetrack. You got fast cars, slow cars, double wide. It is a mess right now.
Now, Jose Gonzalez still out on the racetrack, and Trey Edson actually made the move on Jose Gonzalez on that exchange. So technically, Jose did not lead a lap in that exchange. Trey Edson is your leader and that would be the net leader on the drivers that had the first round, per se, of pit stops. And Trey comes by this time, leads one more lap, and Byron Daly, 16 seconds behind. Last time by, a 23.34 for Byron, and a 24.53, albeit in a little bit of traffic for Trey. So it goes to show what tires mean at this racetrack. Byron's probably going to be here in about 15 laps or less.
Yeah, and Edson, as we know, pitted early. That's how he is able to hold on to the lead, as the 39 of Rockingham just went by, put him back on the lead lap. Now he's got to go full racetrack around to catch that number 5. His car's streaking by the 5. His tires have given up the good.
You'd almost have to think that Trey is thinking about coming down a second time if this thing stays green. You got a few laps to get it done, but if you stay out here on the strategy that you're on, Byron Daly passes you, this thing, I'm assuming, Kevin, goes another 20 laps or so green, you're going to lose the lead to Byron Daly. You're going to probably fall back to where Kyle Taraska, Kevin Brown's on the same strategy. He pitted early. Adam Gilliland, a few of those drivers. I would almost seem to think you got enough tires on pit road. They started with 5 sets of tires. I don't know if Trey's thinking about another pit stop or Kevin Brown's thinking about another pit stop, but that might be in the cards. We see Jose Gonzalez on the screen. He has yet to pit on this run, I do believe, Kevin, and he's running in second right now.
Yeah, I think he's reaching for some roll bar padding. Every one of these drivers is going to go down and get 4 tires. If the 5 can get a caution right now, he's going to find himself with great track position out front. That's got to be what he's banking on. Then if he sees the 33, the 39, and whatever drive by him, and he's going to have to give up for fresh tires. It's a 26 sideways there. Williams almost tagged him coming off the turn 4. It is perilous as these cars slip and slide.
I'm surprised Jose stayed out as long as he did. He got the track position back that he lost on the first half of the run, sliding through the grass on 2 or 3 laps after the green flag. But if we get a caution right now, it changes the complete complexity of this race and of this run. But Trey, Jose, Byron Daly, Kyle Taraska, Adam Gilliland, your top 5, Pedro Mojica, Josh Parker, Falkingham, Kevin Brown, and Robert Gillenwater, your top 10. So most of those names, Kevin, we've seen in the top 10. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but still the same players up there. But we've got some drivers that are 1 or multiple laps down that are probably scratching their head right now.
On that exchange, you saw the 33 of Byron Daly. He pitted lap number 106, and with 14 laps on his tires, his car is fast. He's about to get to second place, Jose Gonzalez, and he is knocking seconds off every lap, 1 to 2 from your leader. The one who didn't opt out very well in that exchange is Daniel Falkingham. 15 seconds back from your leader. He lost 7 seconds to Byron Daly, so he could use a caution to get back up there and be in contention.
I'm sure there's a lot of teams right now screaming for a yellow. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, looks like the 99 of Tommy Ryan, and Josh Williams in the 95 just went by the leader, and they are racing hard ahead of Trey Edson. So you mentioned working on a caution or drivers that are racing hard that could very well have that cork pop on that battle. Josh Williams just moves by Chad Coleman, and here comes Brian Macklin. Here comes the 37 of Elliot Henderson. These are all drivers getting their laps back from the leader, Trey Edson. Trey still has about 5 seconds or so on Byron Daly. Last time by a 25.02, albeit Trey was letting traffic by, to Byron Daly's 23.68. So about a second or so and change gain from Byron to Trey. So Byron's going to be there by the end of probably lap 130 or so, but then the strategy comes into play for the final 35 laps or so.
Yeah, 2 different dynamics for the 5. He sees cars coming and he's got to get out of the way. They'll run him over. The 33 is coming so fast on some of these drivers, and when he gets to their back bumper, if they're slower, they're likely just to pull up and let him go. As
yellow.
We're going to have a caution here. The 99 and the 44 tangle. This is what the 5 wanted.
This is exactly what Trey Edson wanted. It's Glenn Campbell and Tommy Ryan coming together, and it was that battle in front of the leaders that ended up popping that cork. And we'll cue up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay with 40 laps to go. And Paul, I think Glenn Campbell and Tommy Ryan just ran out of racing real estate between the two off the corner.
Yeah, Tim, at this point of the race, it's really difficult for these guys to try and find some clean racetrack. There's so many different battles, different strategies going on with the tire wear. And we're pulling it up now. Tommy Ryan going around the outside of Glenn Campbell there in a 44. And almost 3 wide with Williams there. Not quite, but yeah, what a wild ride for Tommy Ryan. We're going to have to back that up and take a peek at that. But just a couple of guys going for the same piece of real estate, and we've said it before, we'll say it again, and we'll say it again and again. You can't have two objects in the same spot at the same time, and we're going to run on board here with the number 99 of Tommy Ryan, and there you can see just runs out of racetrack, gets the boot, and then all you see is sky fence, sky, ground, and then the 44 car. So that's a tough break for both of these guys, both Tommy Ryan and Glenn Campbell here, getting caught up on this lap 125 wreck.
It looked to me, Tim, as if he was trying to move out of the way for the faster 95 coming, and unfortunately that courtesy ended up in the hard concrete wall. So 5, Trey Edson down, right side tires are on, Cruz coming around, left side tires going on your leader as he's going to be down and away, and he's going to win the battle off. Byron Daly also coming off cleanly, so I suspect that there'll be 1-2. And now it's feeding time at the zoo one more time here as everybody's going to come down and get 4 tires to finish this race.
Interested to see what guys like E.J. O'Rourke and a few of those drivers do that just got their lap back by staying out. Do they stay out and get the wave around and remain on the lead lap hoping that they catch a quick caution? Or do they come in here and get tires on their race car? In the case of E.J. O'Rourke, he is going to come down onto pit road, surrender what would be a lead lap run to get onto pit road. I do believe as we'll see scoring come through and update and all that fun stuff. But Trey Edson, still your leader coming off of pit road, and he's going to be in a spot where he wasn't earlier. He was up in the top 5, Kevin. He didn't have the speed on the first couple of runs that Byron Daly had or Daniel Falkingham might have had. He was kind of matching what Josh Williams was running. And I'm interested to see what kind of short run speed that he kind of has right now on the same tires as those guys. I still think Byron Daly's in a really good spot.
Yeah, of course, Edson, as we said earlier, won the Xfinity race. He's got 43 wins in this series. He knows how to get the job done. Daly with 42 wins. So between the two of them, they're almost lockstep in the number of wins in the series. And, well, we're going to find out pretty quickly as we see about a dozen cars out in front of the number 5. The 5 will be your leader, but those other cars, I think that's going to answer that question. They're going to take the wave around and hope for a quick caution.
And looking at the scoring monitor, I thought E.J. O'Rourke was tail end of the lead lap when the caution came out, but I think he was scored actually on the lead lap, so he will fall back somewhere near the middle to the back of the pack. But all those wave-around cars have gone by the pace car, and they're going to catch up to the back. Jose Gonzalez, Justin Fuller, Randy Oakham, Jason Barham, Bobby Wetzel, Joey Gattina, Mike Montesi, Richard Beasley, Doy Woods, Jimmy Coleman, and a bunch of others. They're going to have to hustle because the field is coming down Thunder Alley in the back straightaway, getting ready to come back to green.
Edson, your leader. Byron on the outside. He's led 106 laps here tonight. Edson took over the lead lap 111. We're working lap 20, 128, 165 is the distance. Lights are out on the pace cars. He's about to turn her. We'll find out. I tell you what, I would count on that 33 just decimating the field here tonight. He's been so fast, nobody's had anything for him.
Yeah, I think those two on the outside line in the first 2 rows are going to be the ones to watch, but they are not the control car. It's Trey Edson, green flag flies, and a great jump for the 5 of Edson, side by side in behind the 18 of Kyle Tarasca. Going to go to the inside of Byron Daly, and we'll see how long it takes the Valvoline number 33 to vault back to second and maybe mount a charge for the 5 of Trey Edson. They come through, and there's a caution flag on the speedway, and I didn't want to say anything, Kevin, but this is about the point in the race where you're going to get what you can get. We saw it on almost every single restart at Bristol, and it looks like somebody may have tried to get a little more than they wanted to, and the yellow flag will fly once again, I believe, for the...
Transervice and Transportation Logistics Solutions. We are back with Vidane TV's coverage of the SIM500 Transervice Series. We're under caution lap number 140. Went back to restart lap 133. Lost our connection, but we are back live. And in that moment, the 33, that is the story since we went away. Byron slipped up, turn number 2 went out, hit the outside wall out of turn number 2 to the backstretch. Then the next lap, he made contact with Donny Lia. Lia around hard into the outside wall over there in turn number 1. And we're under caution number 4 here with 140 laps in the book, 25 laps to go. And Tim, the race has just changed complexion.
Yeah, we were kind of chatting when we had the outage that Byron was racing with Adam Gilliland, and we know Adam Gilliland is on kill mode at this point. And all the drivers are on kill mode right now because they're trying to get every position that they can. But with Adam, you know he's going to be aggressive. With Byron, he was kind of protecting his line, knowing that car is going to come in as the run goes on and the tires get a little more heat into them and fuel load gets a little lighter. But that was the contact that kind of put Byron behind the 8 ball, no pun intended. And then Donny kind of got sideways ahead of Byron. Byron was ahead of steam, and it just happened that he ended up getting into the right rear of the 29, sending the Transervice car head onto the wall. Donny Lia has called it a night. Byron Daly has since come down pit road. Byron will restart near the back of this field. He has scored back in 25th place position. But pace car is coming off, Kevin, and we are getting ready for green. Strap in. 25 laps to go. We're a little less than 25 laps to go, and this one is going to be a show.
Taraska has a good short run car on the outside, starting second. The second row has swapped with Gilliland out the outside. Falkingham did not get a good restart on the top. This time he has the bottom. He's going to tuck in and protect that third place as they are nose to tail to the backstretch. Falkingham going to go in, and Gilliland going to tuck in behind him as Edson seeing tons of pressure from Taraska out the back window.
Added before that quick caution, Kevin, that we thought that Byron Daly and maybe Daniel Falkingham would be the two to kind of watch because they've had the speed all night as the 95 and Josh Williams makes a daring 3-wide move middle of the pack, and he's going to pick up a spot. There's still 3-wide racing at the middle of this pack with Comstock, Brian Macklin, and Kevin Brown. Justin Fuller making his way through. We're starting to see, Kevin, the middle of the pack, that sense of urgency of those drivers that may have been on the wrong side of the inch when it comes to pit strategy. They are coming to the front of the field because they know they are running out of time.
Also know that a couple of them have made 3 pit stops. They might have just a touch fresher tires. Looking at Brian Macklin back there in the 10th position, looking to see if he can salvage a good finish tonight.
Interesting to see what Josh Williams can make up here. He is running at laps, 20 laps to go this time by, but Daniel Falkingham and I think Byron Daly were really the stories of the first half of this race, and I'm kind of unimpressed of the first couple of laps that Daniel Falkingham has had here because I figured he'd have a little more steam underneath the hood of the Lobster 207 number 39 that he has right now, because instead of being on the offense, trying to trace down the 18 of Taraska and the 5 of Trey Edson, he's almost playing more defense because Adam Gilliland is on the hunt.
Yes, saw 39 slip up a little bit coming out of turn number 4 after that restart. That allowed the front 2 to gap him a little bit, and the 39 just seems nervous as he's wiggling out of turn number 4. He's going to come down and cover the lane down the bottom, but Gilliland's car looks straight. It looks solid. He's down on that yellow line where the 39 was before, as they're side by side for the lead. The 18 of Taraska taking a peek underneath the 5. 5 gets a good run out of turn number 2, able to cover it. He's back out front, but Taraska signaling that he's got the car to beat.
Just kind of giving him a little bit of the warning move, letting him know that he's there and he can make the move if he needs to, but keeping him honest. Adam Gilliland trying to get up here and get past Daniel Falkingham to kind of make a aftermath 1, 2, 3 out of this. Falkingham holding off the 81 and trying to stave off The sweep of the podium for that stable, as Falkingham comes a little bit low off of corner number 4. Adam Gilliland gets a sweeping run down the front straightaway, but can't get there. Look at that run. Was able to get to the back bumper, and almost similar to what we saw with Byron Daly a few laps ago. Good on the corner, the middle of the corner off, and Daniel Falkingham protecting that line to the inside, and Adam Gilliland had to kind of roll under the throttle to make sure he didn't hit him. Great run here down into 1.
Yeah, honestly, it looks like the 39's holding up the 81 that time, able to get a good run up out of turn number 4. Just drove by him, and he's going to clear him and set sail for those top 2 out front. Taraska has to know what happened behind him. If he's going to make the move on Trey, he's going to have to do it pretty quick, because here comes the 81.
Adam has some speed left in that race car, and after the last couple of weeks that he has had, you better believe he wants to finish this race, as we said earlier, Kevin. But if he's got an opportunity to win this race, you better believe that he is going to try to do so. We are creeping ever so closer to 10 laps to go, and Trey is starting to inch away, not by much, but now he's got that car length on Kyle Taraska that he hasn't been able to have on this run. Adam Gilliland, I think, holds the wild card, though, in this top 3 battle.
Yeah, right behind him, I'm watching this battle between the 58 of Mojica and 7th. He's under back bumper of Stefan Marinik. Marinik did what he could to get by Joey Bailey in the 1, got a little sideways that opened the door for Pedro. Pedro tried to sneak underneath him. Marinik is able to recover, and that allowed the 1 of Bailey to drive away a little bit. He's running in that 5th position. Now maybe he's got some clear racetrack. Can he go get Daniel Falkingham as well? The 81 has joined in that top 3 battle.
If I'm Trey Edson, I'm kind of breathing a sigh of relief right now. We're going to come by this time and have 11 laps left in this race. If I'm Trey, Adam's got to get by Kyle first. And even though they are teammates, they kind of work together, a whole stablemate deal with Aftermath Motorsports, Kyle's not going to let Adam Gilliland get by. And even if he does get by Kyle Taraska, he's got to go chase down Trey, and I don't know if he's got enough time to get there. I think Adam's probably got the better car, Kevin. He's just going to run out of time. 10 laps to go.
Yeah, this looks very similar to the pattern of behind the 39 when the 81 was there. He's just right to the back bumper, and one of these times he's going to get a good drive off and be able to sneak underneath the 18. Might be this time by as they come out of turn number 4. The 18 covering that low line know that the 81 of Adam Gilliland going to look down there, as this allows Trent Edson to drive away a little bit, but I think it's inevitable. This 81 is going to find a hole where he's going to make one.
81's going to try to make that move. The question is, when does he make it, and how much time does he have left to catch the 5 of Trey Edson? The biggest thing I think right now would be if Trey can catch, or if Adam can catch a caution flag after he gets by, or even right now he'd start right behind him. But this race is looking green. We got a lot of respect in between these drivers. That battle for second heats up. Going to be some lap traffic ahead of Trey Edson, but I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, the 44 of the slower car pulls down, and that's a good move for Glenn Campbell not to interfere with this race. As well, I'll tell you what, Edson looks pretty good. He just continues to put the laps down here, and these things are ticking off. If that 81 doesn't get by, he might not.
And I think with Adam, too, he's got that win. You know, this is going to be a good points night, per se, to try to get him a little bit closer up to the top of the playoff board when we go playoff racing. But if I'm Kyle Taraska, I can't leave a hole. He almost did coming off of turn number 4. He had an opportunity for Adam to pounce, but I don't think Adam is going to take an opportunity that is not there, if that makes any sense. As they go down Thunder Alley down into turn number 3, they'll come by this time full hand from the starter. 5 laps to go.
Macklin able to slip underneath, take over that 8th position. He slid underneath Joey Bailey. That opened the door for the 95 of Josh Williams. He was able to slip underneath. Now the 1 car of Bailey trying to stop the bleeding. He's got the 23 of Josh Parker peeking underneath him. Parker going to take that position, and now he's under assault from Mike Kelly. So Joey Bailey had a top 8-9 run go south here when he got stuck up in that high lane, and he just cannot seem to get down in the hole.
Yeah, he had a top 5 run brewing, but obviously not going to go the way he wants to, and that has kind of been the way his season has been for Joey Bailey. Some great speed, not a whole lot of great finishes to show for it. Adam Gilliland is by Kyle Taraska. He is closing it in quickly on Trey Edson, but I believe he is going to run out of laps. 3 laps to go and about 0.6 of a second to make up. You do the math, Kevin. He might get there. I don't think he's going to have anything to pass Trey.
Tell you what, he is hustling that car. You could just hear the tire screaming as he dumps it down into turn number 3, and that's not going to help him. As actually, I think Edson might have had a faster time that time by as he opened the path. Edson smooth as glass right now. Good run up out of turn number 2. Nice and smooth to the back straightaway. The car is straight, and perhaps Gilliland has worn his stuff out trying to chase him down, although he's still game to try it as he's hustling the car over in 3 and 4.
He may be overdriving the race car, and that may be costing him. White flag is out. Final lap here at Rockingham for the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. Trey Edson going to parlay some pit strategy into a lead, track position, and ultimately the victory. As he comes down through 3 and 4, Adam Gilliland going to give it a go through 3 and 4, but he is not close enough. Trey Edson comes up at a corner number 4, and he is a winner in the Transervice Cup Series at Rockingham. Gilliland and Taraska complete a top 3 for Aftermath Motorsports. Daniel Falkingham, and a great run for Stefan Marinick, your top 5. Justin Fuller, Pedro Mojica, Brian Macklin, Josh Parker, and a great run for Mike Kelly, as you mentioned, Kevin, coming home in 10th.
Top 10 for Mike Kelly. Good run for him. As congratulations to Trey Edson. Great strategy played out. Just one of those nights where you try something and it works, and he's 2 for 2 on the weekend. Sweeps the rock here on the on-site Gas Systems Camaro, and he's going to come down to the front stretch and burn him down for the fans here at Rockingham.
The rest of your finishing order come across your screen so you can see where your favorite driver has finished this evening. But you look outside the top 10. Josh Williams, tough run for him. Byron Daly, I think, is the story of this race, Kevin. Led so many laps, started up front, had the issue at the end, finishes in 15th place. You look down the list, Tyler Dalton qualified really well. He's going to finish 22nd. Kevin Brown almost had strategy played out, going to finish in 24th. There's just so many what-ifs in this finishing order, but Trey Edson kind of surprised me with the strategy, the way it played out, but rock solid at the end. We'll chat with him in just a few moments.
Yeah, the story of the night has to be the slip from Byron Daly off of turn number 2. Totally ruined his opportunity. He led 106 laps to 54 for Edson, but you got to give to Edson the right strategy for that team tonight, and a solid performance out of that driver. Best run he's had all year long, and number 5 is going to come away from a win.
Still waiting for our top 3 to make their way over so we can chat with them as Trey continues his
hops through the grass.
Yeah, we talk about AstroTurf and whatever you want to there, but he's still celebrating. So just waiting for a few moments. We can tell you that coming up here on Vidane TV, we've got a busy schedule coming up. We'll get our events out of the way. It includes a doubleheader on Wednesday. It is the TCM All-Star Showcase Open at 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be at New Smyrna, 100 laps there for the non-winners race. And then as Trey blows the motor up in his race car on Wednesday night, Fatheads Cup Series also returns. Doubleheader on Vidane TV. Thursday is the TCM All-Star Showcase, the season finale for the TCM special events. Sunday, we are back with Sim Racing Unleashed. Always a great time with those guys. They put on a great race last evening, and then the Transervice Cup Series back next Monday, as they always are, here on Vidane TV. You can check out all the schedule at vidane.net, and be sure to like Vidane on the social media channels. Big things to come from Vidane TV here as we go forward into the summer months. But Kevin's still waiting for our top 3. They've got to get to stepping because we're almost at the end of the show, so they got to make their way over, or we might have to interview Daniel Falkingham again.
Yeah, Edson, Gilliland, Taraska, what a great battle they had there. I have to wonder if Gilliland could have somehow made his way around Taraska just a lap or 2 earlier. Could he have had something for him? But I'll tell you what, hats off to Kyle Taraska. Great run for him. coming into tonight for a top three. Played that strategy well, and he was in the game. I thought he had the short run car and had enough run to the end there for Edson to be able to drive off.
Listen, we threatened to interview Daniel Falkingham again, and look who shows up. Trey, congratulations on the win. Talk about this strategy that you had, because it looked like from this vantage point, the short pitting might not have worked, and then you caught a caution. Walk us through the strategy from tonight.
No, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It's been a rough start to my season. I might have one top 20. I don't know. The rest is DNF, so I'm kind of marred back in points, and I want to try something different. I was probably going to run 5th to 10th, so I wanted to do something different. And I think we restarted with about 120 laps left, and I thought 40 laps into it, and then 80 laps into it. And then as we kind of ran there, I was looking at lap times, and the laps were dwindling down, and Byron was really chopping off the deficit. And I was just like, well, I don't think that's going to work. And I was literally about to pit and just kind of get fresh tires and drive back up through there and get what positions back I could, whether it be 15th or what. But come off 2, and they were wrecking all over the place. So it was definitely what I wanted to see.
Race coming down to the checkered, obviously an aftermath 1, 2, 3 coming down to the waning laps, but Adam Gilliland hasn't had the greatest of luck here in the last few races. You know how much of a pit bull he can be at the end of the race. How much were you trying to manage that gap back to the 81?
I was actually worried about Kyle there right off the rip, but because I screwed up and missed the bottom at 3 and 4, and Kyle got a huge run. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to get enough momentum off 2 to clear him, and it was just enough. And I don't think this is Adam's best track, so I was a little shocked to see him drive up through there and then start chopping a 10th off a lap. But when he got to second, I think he was 7/10 back, and then he got it down to about 6. But I knew a 10th a lap with 4 to go, I was good to go as long as I didn't screw up. So I had asked Kyle before, it's probably one of the next to last restarts, if he wanted me to maybe pick the top lane and us kind of work together. And we both kind of agreed to not do the team restart thing and just kind of whatever happens. Because a lot of the time when you work with people in the same channel, like Kyle, if I counted Kyle down, he gets down here on second, he might feel entitled to just ride behind me. And he probably don't want to do that. And then I don't think it's very fair to him. So it was a straight up battle there. It wasn't any team games. So I'll take the win and lock myself into the chase with the bad start I've had there.
I was going to say, season hasn't been great to this point. You kind of mentioned it, but pressure's off now, I assume?
Well, yeah. They got this little team challenge, and Mike Montesi's got onsitegas.com on my quarter panel. So as a defending champion, I don't think I've really come out and performed like I've wanted to. I got a new wheel and new pedals, so that's some of my excuse. And then a lot of it's just been either I do a dumb strategy or a dumb mistake, like Atlanta. I wrecked on lap 1. I mean, just straight up self-spun on lap 1. So it's just got to start putting together some clean races like tonight and reeling off some top 10s, top 5s, be consistent. And I mean, like tonight, you hang out, you take care of your car, you work the strategies sometimes right, and kind of things fall into your lap.
Bob went and won a Coke race here a couple of weeks ago. Did you feel like you had to step up for the old guys?
Who's that? Oh, Bob.
Bob.
My only memory of Bob was the online 500 in like 06 or 07. I don't know if you remember that, but we were side by side, and I somehow won that race. It's still one of the highlights of my career. So I feel like you've been calling my races for 20 years now. So it's I sent you a little PM there before I jumped in here. I was like, I want Tim to interview me. It's been forever since I've performed good enough with Tim in the booth to even get an interview from him. So yeah, been doing this forever. It was cool to see Bob. I don't watch a lot of the Coke races, but I woke up and you kind of scroll on social media and you see all the stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. He was notorious for running the number 53 in online racing. So that was my real life Legends car number. So I thought it was always kind of cool Bob ran that.
On site on this race car. Who else is on this race car that makes it happen for you?
Really just On-Site Gas, thanks to Mike Montesi and onsitegas.com. Everybody at Aftermath, Adam always kind of catches me up to speed because I got a little 2-year-old running around, so I don't ever get to hop on here and just turn laps and kind of stay in the know with tire wear and stuff. So everybody on Aftermath, mainly Adam, Fuller, EJ, not really EJ, he don't know what he's doing, but Adam and Fuller kind of keep me up to date with what's going on. Taraska and Josh hang out with us on Mondays. They're always fun to hang out with. So just thanks to everybody. Thanks to Joey and all the admins and the sponsors at SIM500. And thanks to you guys for taking time out of your schedule to broadcast our races. And hopefully this is kind of a start of a good luck string for me, and I get to talk to you guys more.
Yeah, we get to do this again on a regular basis. Trey, congratulations. Go celebrate the win. Pressure's off.
Sure, you guys have a good one. Appreciate it.
As Branson, your winner, and to his point, Kevin, EJ O'Rourke, if we were posting the scoreboard, the 34th place finish tonight for the old 41 car, so I'm sure the team is not going to be too happy with him not carrying his weight, but you've caught up with a guy that was on a tear at the end. Adam Gilliland finishes in second.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun team meeting tomorrow. Adam Gilliland, welcome back to the podium. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's been a while, so feeling a lot better after this race than about the last month and a half. Happy to be talking to you guys.
If you could replay that race, how would you have done it differently? Because I'll tell you what, you were so fast at the end, certainly the fastest car, but bridesmaid tonight.
Yeah, the one thing I probably would do different is not go 47 miles an hour leaving pit road after the first stop. That's about the only thing I messed up all race. And, the first run, it was just, getting the feel for it and feeling what it needed to do to save tires. And I think I learned a lot in that first run on how I was overdriving entry. And, this place in particular, you really got to wrap the line and use a lot of throttle control the whole corner, a lot of partial throttle. And I didn't really do that right until I drove through the field in those last few runs. So really, I wish I could have done that speeding penalty different, but I'm really happy for my buddy, little Trey baby. He's had a tough season to say the least, and happy he's finally going to be in victory lane and, not have to worry about the point situation.
Typically on the schedule for the Cup Series, they were at Martinsville this week, but we ran Rockingham. Tell us, what do you think of this racetrack? It's a blast to race, isn't it?
I've actually never been really a big fan of this place, just the way it drives. I just feel like you can't. It's fun with the throttle control and and the how slow it gets in the corners and whatnot. But I feel like I don't know. It's just never really suited my style and suited my eye, to say the least. But really bummed when I saw this on the schedule over Martinsville. I think I swept both races there last year, and Martinsville is my favorite racetrack other than Richmond. So. Was a little bit bummed to be going to Rockingham instead, but we made the most of it tonight.
I guess it's a love-hate relationship. A lot of drivers are tired of running the typical cup tracks, as they call them sometimes, to throw something in the mix. But I'm with you. I love New Hampshire. I love those flat racetracks that you drive into the corner and there's no banking. And it is a driver's track. Here tonight, you were chasing that 5 car, but you had to get past Taraska. He was pretty stiff there. After you got past the 39, it looked like the inside lane was the better place to restart.
It was. iRacing, they came out with their multi-groove track bite, VHT, PJ1, whatever you want to call it, grip strips a couple weeks back. And this wasn't one of the ones they included on their updates. So I was pretty happy to see that from a gimmick standpoint. Obviously, it would have helped on the restarts because you weren't going anywhere if you started on the outside, especially if you were still on someone's outside getting down in turn 3. You might as well chalk up 2-3 spots lost. But yeah, no, it was definitely tough if you weren't on the bottom.
So it's been really a difficult season over the last couple of races, but here you come out with the second. Is this the turnaround of your season?
Well, I sure hope so. We started 2 for 2, and I don't think I finished top 30 since. Definitely not the season I've wanted so far for Scott and the personal comfort of everyone on this car, but hopefully, we got some good racetracks coming up. I think Richmond and a few other of my, good racetracks are coming up. So hopefully this was the turning point for my season and we can get back on the right track.
Yeah, nice job tonight getting second place, coming through the field after that penalty. Good recovery for you. Anybody else you want to say thanks to before we move along?
Yeah, just real quick, got to plug Scott and Personal Comfort again. Really appreciate what he's done for all of us over Aftermath this season. Sponsoring, I think, 6 of us. So really happy to have personal comfort on the car. As always, Gary Merce Trucking on the quarter panels, Joey and all the admins at SIM500, and certainly you guys at Vidane for putting on the broadcast.
There you go. Second place. Good job tonight, Adam. And we'll look for you next week at Richmond. We're going to turn it over to Tim, who's caught up with our third place finisher.
Yeah, Kyle Taraska comes home in position number 3 to complete the Aftermath 1, 2, 3. Kyle, battle with Adam Gilliland at the end. How much was the team play in there, and how much did Adam obviously got by, but talk about that battle between yourself and your teammate.
Yeah, I think Trey said it best. There was no team play whatsoever at the end of that race, and Trey even gave me the opportunity, as he mentioned, to play games with him a little bit on the restart. But I just like to run all this stuff straight up, and I gave Trey a really good run for his money there on that restart, and I knew I had him on the short run, and clean air still means a lot here, and I knew if I was able to get underneath him fairly quick, I'd have a good chance just to put him away, and unfortunately I couldn't close the deal, and I got really tight behind him, burned up the right front, and that kind of led me in the back to the battle with Adam that you're mentioning. And I did my best to hold off Adam the best I could. He's got wins already, and I don't. So the more points I could get, the better. But obviously, once he got underneath me, I wasn't going to put up too big of a fight. I got that much respect for him. So, but nonetheless, it was a really good race for this personal comfort Chick-fil-A Mustang, and Rockingham was one of those tracks that I have circled on the schedule in this series. It's one of my favorites on the sim, and couldn't close the deal today, but a strong run nonetheless.
It's a strong run. You've had a lot of speed all season long, but not that win that you mentioned. It's kind of been up and down when you look at finishes. How big of a shot in the arm momentum-wise is this looking forward to the upcoming races on the schedule?
It's definitely a big shot. It's a confidence booster for sure. Definitely no bigger confidence booster and winning Turkey Derby in the TQ midget in real life a couple weeks ago. But these races, it's a simulation, but they're tough to win. And we got this top half of this field for sure, at the very least, probably more than that. It's really stiff competition. So and consistency has been key. And certainly I want to be able to make the chase and see what we could do there. But once we get into the chase, winning races is when it counts. So really close, running consistent. I'd rather be running top 5 and top 10 every week than fighting, trying to get into the top 20, I guess. So still some stuff to improve on, but nonetheless, this was a big confidence booster. And the 2 tracks I won at last year in this series, Talladega and Kansas, they're coming up on the schedule within the next month or so. So got some good stuff to look forward to, and hopefully we could win one of the, maybe a couple here before the season's out.
You mentioned the real world stuff, kicking it off with the big win at Turkey Derby. What's the outlook for the real world stuff look like for 2021?
The championship battle over there, just like we are over here in the virtual side. Really got a lot of good things coming together, and Chick-fil-A market in our area in New Jersey, that's really being big supporters, and even personal comfort as well on the TQ midget. They're 2 of my biggest supporters, sponsorship wise. But our race team and my teammate in real life, Joey Bailey, who's running in this series as well. We're working day and night at the shop. We're actually going down there tomorrow night to work on our cars and get ready for the points season opener here coming up on May 8th at Mahoning Valley Speedway in Pennsylvania. But no, we got about 15 points races on that schedule. And I feel like this is the year, knock on wood, there's a lot of things that are coming together. And, no better way to kick off the 2021 season by winning the biggest race of 2020 in 2021 and the most 2020 thing that ever happened, right? So that was a tongue twister. But nonetheless, really excited. A lot of good stuff going on in the racing side of things, and really can't wait to get the season going on that deal, and then obviously continuing running here on Monday nights as well.
To some of the marketing partners, who else makes it happen for this 18 team? Who's on the team? Who makes it happen?
Well, my teammates were in this interview room not too long ago, so that's pretty cool. But our buddy Scott Senzel, he's sponsoring a bunch of us here with Personal Comfort, and I actually have a Personal Comfort A6 king size mattress, and is one of the best purchases I've ever made in my life. So if you are in the market for a bed, please go get a Personal Comfort mattress. But Scott's been a big supporter. My Personal Comfort teammate, Josh Williams, definitely depend on him a lot for a lot of things and keep my head straight and, trying to help me be a little bit faster. So kudos to him. He had a decent run tonight too. Everybody else on the team, as Adam, Trey, EJ, Justin, Joey Bailey, he's been with us as well. So there's a big group of us. Unfortunately, Scott couldn't make it tonight. He's actually out in Las Vegas for an expo on behalf of Personal Comfort. So, but we got a really solid group over there, and going into TeamSpeak and racing with these guys every Monday night, it definitely makes Mondays a lot easier to look at the calendar each week.
And another solid run to back it up. Congratulations.
Talk to you guys. Thanks for all you do.
Kyle Taraska, position number 3 here this evening. And Kevin, great race, great finish, exciting finish to it. And Rockingham always brings us some great racing action. Looking forward to the next one next Monday night with the Transervice Cup Series.
Yeah, we head out of the North Carolina hills. We drive north to the Richmond Raceway and march into the quarter mark of the SIM500 Transervice Cup season. Have you ever seen Mahoning Valley? That racetrack is a circle, literally, Tim. Interesting racetrack that he was talking about there.
Absolutely. Some great short tracks in the Northeast. And get out to your local short track, support your local short track, because that is what's fueling all the upper echelons and fueling the Saturday nights and all the racers cutting their teeth. Congratulations to Trey Edson. He is your winner here this evening for the Transervice Cup Series at Rockingham. As we mentioned, Vidane busy on Wednesday, busy on Thursday. Check Vidane.net for all the upcoming events. On behalf of Paul Strickland Jr., Kevin England, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you next Monday night for the Transervice Cup Series. We say let's go racing. Until then, keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.